If you are seeing this, this means you are part of the collective who had or is going through a spiritual awakening. But there are 7% of you already awakening that just need more answers or more validation. And you're wondering what's happening after the awakening. Let's talk about what's happening before the awakening. What causes you to be awakened, to be pushed out of your old knowledge, of old self. So we are on a discovery to try to find what makes us us. Who is us? What is us? What sums up who and what we are? And by doing that, we travel through the ones who came here before us. But what about the ones who are coming after us? We got to also include them too within this, because they are all part of a big divine plan that our ancestors been calculating, been planning for such a very long time. And I've been channeling this energy for years, and it took me this long to come up here to say that our ancestors are already here. We are our ancestors. But my question is, where does the old version of us go in the ether? Is that version of us is lost and trying to discover itself again? Or is that version of us a different expansion of us, or a different consciousness within our ancestors? So we're able to come back and access those information through walking in those spirits by calling them forward. But my thing is, if we trade places with our ancestors, meaning we become our ancestors become them, but without in death, or being in death, are the ones that was not living are living through us now, or living in general. Just by us acknowledging, being aware of them, are they breathing again? Or their legacy is continuing? Are, like, what chapter of the legacy are we in? Because it seems like around this time, the Bible tends to be stuck on a particular part of its chapter, of its history, that keeps being repeated. It's, to me, the Bible represents like almost about everything, every mythology just sums up in one, with different beings and different characters. And some of us are able to crack the code and get information out of it. Some of us may not understand the information quite just yet, because we're not trying to walk in our ancestors' shoes, because they written the blueprint right there. That's how they got to their enlightenment, to their all-knowing, to their all self-awareness, by going through the power of their ancestors, their mind, traveling through their subconscious. So we end up traveling through theirs. And how they travel through the subconscious is by having belief of what they're seeing and feeling. And it takes that little last drop of faith from that one chosen one out of the family, out of the tribe, out of the collective, to go and explore all those different realms and all those different types of dimensions. And how that chosen one explore, well, we really need to start asking these questions. Why do we have spirituality in the first place? Why do we have these gifts in the first place? Where do these gifts and where do spirituality comes from? Do spirituality comes from within, or is spirituality is being taught? But if so, is spirituality is being taught, but by who? We don't know what type of beings some of these people are operating on through their ancestors to get these information. I myself, when I asked myself this, like, did it really take this much pain for me to really be open, for me to be honest about my life, about myself? My spirit said, yes, it took that much for you to want or to desire these type of knowledge. And I asked, was it a different spirit besides self spirit that was influencing me to want to be awakened, to want to take on this request? My spirit goes, yes and no. My spirit said it was already planted for me since birth, before I was even born, before I even knew that I truly existed, like thousands, billions of years, millions of years. And I have not explored every type of different realm, but I have explored mostly all the realms within this dimension. And I'm still continuing to travel. And just by how I travel is by the power through my mind and imagination. Imagination goes a long way. Imagination is what helps you to connect to these other weird like realms and manifestation and all that good stuff. So it takes a childlike mind to have imagination. That's why in tarot cards there's like a kid on top of the horse. And if you're into tarot, if you're into that stuff, then you recognize that the child mind, the child subconscious imagination is what can create what these ancestors might look like, or what we might see or become. And I'd be wondering, are we traveling in the past, present, and future? How do we tend to know? It's like if you ever lucid dream, you will tell the difference between being lucid, being in a dream, or seeing visions, having visions. It's kind of like the same concept as, in a dream, if you could see time, then time might be representation of an illusion, or time might tell you you're in a specific place or thing, or like specific place or planet or whatever. It's however you interpret it, what time, if you see it in the clock, represent. If you see it in the vision, that's totally different. But I might explain that in another time. What it means when you see certain things in certain dreams or vision, and then you tend to see it in reality. But yeah. So a lot of us, we have to walk through not only our own darkness, but also our ancestors' darkness. Because they said in order to want what they have, or them to want what we have, is we have to start telling the truth, start acknowledging the truth that we come from darkness, that we come from pain and trauma. And it took them this much. They're not even healed yet from what they experienced when they was awakened. Even now, like where they're at, they're still haven't got over certain issues. There's still being issues being solved. And if we can't solve our problems here, how are we going to solve our problems in the ether? How are we going to able to be still in the ether, or to be able to listen to our costs? Like, it's, how are we going to survive and trying to come back here to bring back what we learned, to teach the next generation after us? Because we are trying to break certain codes, certain methods that the newer generation, they don't have to experience what we have to experience in order to be awakened. But our ancestors always left us clues of how to guide them to and guide ourselves, but also do it better. And that is going through the pain, going through the trauma, because the answers are there within the pain and the trauma. And by starting back, going back to the beginning of you, instead of getting rid of the beginning of you, because the beginning of you is just as important as the end of you. How you start is how you finish. So how to go to beginning of oneself? Go back to what triggers you in your trauma. Trigger yourself sometimes. Be in a place where you can be alone, where you don't have to, like, if you can't do it by yourself, do it with a friend. Do it with somebody who's connected to you that you can trust. Listen to music that trigger you in your past. Find old music that reminds you of a particular moment of time that gave you the most trauma, because by sound, that's how you travel. That's how you can travel. Then you try to go back to the past once you travel through a particular song or a particular playlist. Like, have it listed. Be like, okay, this is playlist for my past. This is playlist for my future. And this is playlist for my present. Have it in order. Like you would have your books in order, or like organize. Like, organize your thoughts. All right, this song kind of triggered me. Sorry, I didn't know that was there. It's cold out here. This song kind of triggered me. So put them where they trigger you the most, past, present, or future. Ask your ancestors, have they experienced these type of pain, these type of lessons? And they can help you, guide you to the next step of learning to let go of those pain and lessons. But you can never forget, but you can always forgive. So start asking questions like that towards them. They'll give you the answer. Another thing is, when you are traveling through your ancestor subconscious, always have a light around you. Envision a light around them, because you don't know what type of entities or deities that they are associated with, or that they believe in themselves. Not everybody is with you, and not everybody is against you. But be careful on what type of ancestors you call, because a lot of times, our ancestors are not operating on the same system or same plane length as we are. So we have to ask permission, and we have to ask these ridiculous questions within ourselves in order to travel within their subconscious and with ours. So always envision a light around you, any type of color. But just know those lights can represent your chakras as well. So it's whatever you operate on the strongest. And if you can see aura or you can see people's spirits, then 3 out of 10, you might be clairvoyant, or you might be a Reiki healer or something like that along the lines. If you can like see certain things within people that other people cannot see. And I guess I'm gonna say a little bit more things before I get off. Well, I kind of lost the thought. Yeah. So this is like a little breakdown of how to travel through the subconscious mind. And once you start to understand and pay attention to what your ancestors desire and what you desire, everything starts to align up. It creates a new world for you once you pay attention, once you stay focused, because everything is not a coincidence, but take a coincidence, but that's just how they talk to you. And another thing I noticed is when you get these type of jobs, say you want a particular job, ask an ancestor who had this experience before, and they'll work with you and train with you in the ether. And you'd be wondering, how am I so good at this job? Or like, why does it feel like deja vu or something like that? That's a little magic tip that I know how to do for myself. But yeah, if you like today's video, feel free to hit that like button. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. I appreciate it. Comment also, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And those who are new, I welcome you. And yeah, make sure you also look underneath the video. My information is underneath there. If you want to email me, if you want to send me a donation, or if you want to text or talk or have a chat, have a one-on-one conversation, just text me there, and we can do that. So I'll see y'all next time. Love and light.